Hi, I'm Ash. Welcome to my channel. I can't lie. Whoa, focus on me. There we go, thank you. Plain and simple, I'm feeling bad. Mentally, I'm feeling bad today. I'm anxious. And that's okay. I don't have to force myself out of it. But what if I just lean into it? I've decided what I'm gonna do today. Reorganizing my bookshelf. I'm always looking for a reason to do that, and not that there needs to be a reason, but today feels like a pretty good reason to organize my bookshelf. Now, the one thing that has been putting me off from this is that I have loose books that don't fit in there. I want to get shelves. But you know what? No, I'm tired of waiting for the perfect circumstances to start something. So let's just do it. And then I can put aside the books that maybe go on the shelf when I get the shelf. Maybe I plan for the shelf today. I don't buy the shelf today. Or maybe I do. We'll see. We'll see where the day takes us. I'm going to try and live today as present as possible, and I'm bringing you with me to help me do that. So let's go make some pancakes and get this day started. Thanks for being here with me. Okay. Bookstore. We ride.
Bruh.
I went out into the world and did the little things. I'm gonna make myself a little charcuterie. Actually, you know what? I was gonna say, while I reorganize my bookshelf, but I have a thing about keeping my books clean, and I don't want my salami fingers to taint my books, so I'm gonna have that perhaps before I get started. I almost forgot to talk about what I actually got at the bookstore. Let me show you. This, I think, may be an epic find. Let me just read a review. Just the first one. It's all that it took to get me to get this book. Kelly Link is the exact best and strangest and funniest short story writer on earth that you have never heard of at the exact moment you are reading these words and making them slightly inexact. Now pay for the book. Stranger Things Happen by Kelly Link. This is going to be fun. I love having a book of short stories in the mix of things just to, have something to pick up and just one story, a couple pages to commit to. The best things happen in short stories, let me tell you. No way, dude. What? Wait a minute. I gotta get the clip on. Microphone secured. I need 2 hands for this. Do you see that? Signed. Oh, sick, dude. I had no idea. I was wondering why it was so expensive when I got to the checkout, because I didn't bother to look. It's used. That's so cool. Oh my god. Anyway, pain. I was literally browsing through the shelves and I saw the spine and I was compelled to it. Again, a pleasant surprise. I'm not familiar with this author. I've never heard of the book. And I have found the best books by just going with first glance, honestly. Judging a book by its cover sometimes can get you somewhere. Let me read you a blurb from the back. There are few living writers who can capture the fluctuations of human feeling with greater nuance and precision. To read her novels is to enter a profoundly familiar but usually unarticulated geography, where the push and pull of sexual desire, familial attachment, and anticipatory fears mingle to create an atmosphere of psychological suspense so acute the reader loses herself entirely. Say no more. And then finally, I was excited to find this. I love these editions, the omnibus editions, because, dude, obsessed with the smell of these pages, because as you saw, they wrap them in cellophane to preserve not only the pages, but the leather that it's bound in. Come on, dude. Worth the price. I'm going to tell you, worth the price. Absolutely a collector's item. And another reason I'm reading them slow, because anyway, I'm going to make a snack and then we're going to play around in my bookshelves. Okay, I'm back. It's time. It's time to break down the books. I think I want to go over like how I have it organized right now and how I want it to be. Which honestly, I like the way, I don't have an issue really with how it's organized. I think I want to just like reconfigure it on the shelves. Um, and then I have a bunch of books down here that don't have a place on the shelf. And that's where I'm not sure how it's going to work without another shelf. It's going to be fun. I love doing this. I'm going to wipe down all of my bookshelves. I have these wipes that I really love because they're safe on all surfaces and it's like a low fragrance. Like it's not very strong, so you can still preserve your bookshelf smell. I think this is going to be a good video to get to know my reading taste because it varies. There's a lot of different stuff. There's books that I will never let go of, no matter if I'll read it again or not. Books to me are little portals and they're all the lives that I've gotten to live. So I'm gonna hoard them and I'm gonna keep them in their cozy little shelf and make sure they're safe and protected and valued for the rest of eternity. Anyway, let me show you the books that I need to find room to park. I do have this on my TBR coming up, The Nightingale. I think I'm gonna cry really hard because I had read only one other historical fiction that was in the point of view of two women during World War II. It's called The Sisters of the Night and Fog, and let me tell you, it destroyed me. And guys, get this. I was finishing this on the couch in my apartment, sobbing 3 years ago. And my boyfriend at the time came in right after I finished this, sobbing, eating donuts, drinking wine, and sobbing over this. He came in unannounced and broke up with me. It was honestly the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Anyway, I think this is going to hit in different ways, different flavors. Next, I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I started this a couple months ago, a little over 100 pages in, annotating it. It feels like a book to annotate, you know? And they call it a modern classic, so we'll see. I was enjoying it. However, this is not a spring book. Like it's not giving me what I need right now. I'm gonna need this, I think, in the fall. This is just gonna it is dark academia, so it's gonna give that fall flavor. I then have my 2 new books, 3 books that I'm currently reading pile that will end up on that shelf, but not yet. The Endless War, the 4th book in the Bridge Kingdom series. If you watched my last video, you know I'm obsessed. There's 5 books in this series, so I have 1 more to go after this. So these need to find a home on the shelves behind me. And then I have the unabridged journals of Sylvia Plath. This wrecked me this morning. I think it's maybe contribute a little bit to my melancholic feel for the day. The anxiousness that I've been feeling today, which I'm feeling better by the way. I really am. I think this is helpful. So thanks for being here. Anyway, it's her journals, and it's kind of turned into my journal, and I relate to her freakishly. If you know anything about Sylvia Plath, she hits home. She hits close to home. just in her existentialism. I'm like 30 pages into this, and I think it's a reasonable goal to finish this in like a year, to just kind of flow through it as I feel. Like there's no rush to get through this, you know. Lastly, we have my graphic novels. Is what started it all for me, my love for graphic novels. I started this about a year ago through my library. Support your local libraries. The library had all 9. That's rare. So I scooped them all up and I read them in just a few sittings. It is so fun. It is so immersive. It's vivid. Joe Hill is our author, none other than Stephen King's son. So there's a good touch of horror in here. The illustrations are done by Gabriel Rodriguez, and like I said, they are vivid. They truly bring this story to life. It's fantastic. It's a fabulous story. I highly recommend. My boyfriend had actually got this for me for my birthday this year, along with the first volume of Berserk. I have been slowly making my way through this because I don't want it to end. But today I got the second volume. I think I'm gonna sit down and maybe knock this out tonight. We'll see. Like I said, it's rainy. It's kind of given a dark, moody reading day. Speaking of dark, sometimes I just get hit with the most intense desire for it to be fall. I got pumpkin seeds at Lowe's yesterday. I just went on a walk and I ended up at Lowe's, and I got pumpkin seeds and more sunflower seeds to maybe put out front. Yeah. Anyway, lastly, we have Hellsing, which is vampires, a vampire horror manga that I'm again gonna reserve for the darker half of the year, i.e. October. September, starting September, end of August through really probably December, January. I don't know. What are the dark days? Yeah. Anyway, the spooky season. Last year I did a reading challenge where I read exclusively vampire books for 4 months, and it was so much fun, and I'm definitely gonna do it this year. I will paste like a little screenshot of the schedule I made last year, and it ended not on a high note, I will admit. Okay, I'm gonna peel all the books off the shelf. No. First, let me show you how the books are currently set up, organized. Okay, so starting at the top shelf, I'd say we've got horror. My first Stephen King book was The Dark Tower, which led into a series unknowingly. It's crazy. It's a fever dream. It is what purgatory is. Check it out. I got really into Grady Hendrix last year. He just put out Wayward Girls that I'm going to read with a friend of mine. I read this last year, episode 13. It's like a first-person POV ghost hunter style story, and it's fun. It's the kind of book that like you could tuck in on a rainy night and just devour that book. So last year, like I said, I did a Vampires Only, and I read Salem's Lot for the first time, Freaky, and I read Dracula. Dracula was the first book that I read kicking off the vampire reading marathon, and I'm so glad that I started off with it. I'm also so glad that I got this copy because I'm obsessed. But I'm glad I started with Dracula because I was able to, Dracula is our OG vampire story. And reading Dracula first really set the stage for all of the other vampire books I read, especially Salem's Lot and the Southern Book. I can never say this title. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. You can just see where the vampire inspiration has come from. We have horror on the top. We've got thriller here on the bottom. Ooh. I read this a few years ago. This is one I read in one sitting. It was disturbing. Something about small towns. They do the most down here on the bottom shelf. It's such an old, like all of these books are old, have been purchased within the last 10 years. These are all YA sci-fi dystopians of sorts. We have a post-apocalyptic. This was my favorite series in high school. I think I picked it up again maybe my freshman year of college. The Forest of Hands and Teeth, zombies. I loved this series. I remember getting in trouble in class for reading, and it was this book. I sadly don't have the third book. I don't know what happened to it, but I would love to reread this series to see what my taste was 12, 13 years ago. That would be so fun. Okay, this one is where my taste starts to divert a little bit. Up here we have literary fiction, we have some historical fiction. Oh my god. I got this at the library at first, and it's just one of those moments where I was like, I need to buy this. I need to have this. Oh god, it smells so good still. We follow Mary, Queen of Scots, and her capture and imprisonment. And it's her and her two hand women who they become companions and really captured the perseverance of female relationships. Let me read you a quick review on this book to kind of sell it, to really, what is it? Hammer the nail in the coffin. Wait, put the nail in the coffin? Hammer the nail on the head? You know what I'm trying to say. An absorbing read. That is the best way to say this. An absorbing read in an utterly believable female perspective on history. Its cocktail of tension and tenderness perfectly captures the claustrophobic world of the four women in the tower. Historical narrative with contemporary relevance. This is a book just like this book, where I saw the cover and I said, I need that. Just based on the cover, I need it. Gorgeous. I love this cover, and it totally captured me. In the title, Death Comes as Epiphany. You guys, I got this for a couple dollars at a used bookstore in Colorado Springs with my best friend. I loved this book. It's a beautiful historical fiction following a woman who's in the convent in 11th century France. She's the only one that can read, so she becomes the transcriber of books. She writes the word into books. I read this book at like the ultimate peak of my anxiety. It was not a good choice. Although it did make me feel introspective of, I'm doing all right. I'm coping well with where I'm at in life. This is a tough read. I will be honest, in the sense that it's consumable. I plowed through it, but it wrecked me. Absolutely wrecked me. And I remember the day I finished this, I walked to Shelf Life, the bookstore I was at today, and I picked up Legends and Lattes. This is a fun and cute read. It's the total opposite of this. So if you do read this and need a palate cleanser, get you a cozy fantasy. But I love Ali Hazelwood. I saw a review once that said all of her books are the same. And listen, I understand that. But do you ever get in the mood to read something that feels exactly like one book, but you don't want to reread that book? You want the same exact thing out of a different book? That's Ali Hazelwood for you. Like if you don't want to read Love on the Brain again, just read Love Hypothesis. This I read. This was the first time I was like, this wasn't it. It was weird. It was weird. I didn't like it. Archer's Voice. I think that was one of my first like contemporary romance of like this era, not Bridget Jones era, but like pastel era. It was good. It was cute. I remember it well. I don't have much to say about it though. These four I have not read, and I actually think could maybe come off the shelf. And now we're at the bottom, my classic literature of sorts. The complete tales and poems of our man, Edgar Allan Poe, my king. We have some books down here from high school that actually are so relevant today. It's embarrassing that we actually like are that predictable. Fahrenheit 451. If you haven't read Fahrenheit 451, highly recommend. Take the time now while books are being banned left and right to read. Probably, I'm going to assume this is a banned book. How could it not be a banned book? In the nutshell, book bans start to happen because our government they don't want us to have our own thoughts. They don't want us thinking for ourselves. They don't want us to explore imaginative ideas. They keep it to the same thing. Everybody's watching and consuming the same thing. And books are being set on fire, so no one gets any fresh ideas. Oh, I found this copy of Animal Farm in a little library just around town. Copyright 1946, 1954. Cover design. Okay, this is an edition from 1965, and I found it just in a little free library around my city. Animal Farm, George Orwell. Just take a look at this real quick. It's actually kind of epic. Oh my god, I wish you could smell this. This smell actually reminds me of like an old church. You pick up an old Bible, all the hands that have touched this. Anyway, I feel like I really didn't give like credit to this shelf that absolutely set my desire to read on fire. Fantasy does that to you, especially romantasy. Like I remember picking up Court of Thorns and Roses in 2019. I loved A Court of Thorns and Roses, but this was my I was actually obsessed. Like so pissed off that I was living in reality. Like it was hard to get over. The greatest, in my opinion, vampire fantasy to ever exist. This experience was just incredible, absolutely incredible. I still think about it all the time. And then I followed it up with Serpent in the Wings of Night, which I think tarnished just right off the bat my experience with that book. And also it just has like a very overdone trope that I cannot stand, which is women giving up their power. Why? I mean, because we're empathetic and loving and caring and giving humans, but This was my first experience with J. Kristoff, Nevernight. I loved these books. It's so fun. It's a very interesting experience because there's a bunch of footnotes at the bottom of the page. It's kind of like a companion while reading because it's the narrator. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It was a fun read. It did take a little bit of time for me to get used to it, but once you get it, it's great. Okay, this is my only experience with R.F. Kuang, The Poppy War. It's hard to have words. It's brutal. Incredible. Just maybe look at trigger warnings before you go into it. What you see here, this is the Dark Fever series. This was actually my very first introduction to Fae. It's a wild ride. 10 out of 10 recommend. I think there's 11 books. Crazy. That's Dark Fever, Karen Marie Moaning. We've got Sarah J. Maas, a Sarah J. Maas shelf here. Zodiac Academy. I'm a victim of the Zodiac Academy. It completely consumed me for like 2 months. I've been craving it. Sometimes I really think about Darius and Tori. Let me just wipe this tear away. Oh my god. And lastly, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Incredible. Fantastic. Perfect. Such a good heist. Such a good atmosphere. Very like dark and gloomy. And you just completely fall in love with the characters. I think we play around in everyone's perspective. This is just miscellaneous pile down here of a bunch of different stuff. just had my bulgogi bowl, which was so good and so savory. And so naturally I had to get a sweet treat, go out in the rain and hunt for a sweet treat.